Hey guys, how's it going today? I wanted to make a quick video on using different environments to supercharge progress. So obviously, depending where we are, we're going to have different kind of productivity levels and different just outcomes in terms of how we might feel, what kind of work we do, what kind of mindset we're in, etc. So I wanted to make this one just specifically on supercharging your progress and just really kind of fast tracking things. Just being selective about what kind of particular environment you're involved in, and just how that kind of impacts you. Yeah, so let's just get into it. So, and by the way, this is all my personal kind of what I do. Um, so, I mean, for me, using cafes or similar spaces, they're almost like they're common workplaces for many people. Obviously, a lot of people utilize them for a great reason, and that reason is because number one, they're quite cheap, right? Obviously, it's not like a cost of a whole workspace. It's quite flexible. So obviously, if you're not happy with a certain cafe or similar area, you can always leave. And it's a little bit more, I guess, energizing than, for example, a library, which is very quiet, or similar workspaces where it's very just no collaboration, just kind of do your work and then leave. Whereas a cafe can be quite nice. You might buy a coffee, you might find really nice atmosphere with other people who are collaborating and working with one another. So that's really cool. And obviously, a lot of the time, digital nomads and those that do flexible working, so they might have a work from home arrangement, or maybe they work overseas, or maybe they own their own business. So something like that could be, cafes could be utilized for those types of people. Or even if you have a in-person job or something like that, even going on the weekends to work on your own thing at a cafe or similar is fantastic in my opinion. I think for what you spend, you get very cheap output per dollar, right? So if you spend $10, maybe it's two coffees, maybe it's a coffee and a croissant, something like that, right? In Australia, it might be even cheaper somewhere overseas. Might be a couple bucks, right? But the premise is the same. It's very cheap for the outcome that's produced, and I think it's a like obviously you can produce an outcome cheaper, for example going to the library, but I really think if you can spend the couple dollars or whatever it is, it's just going to give you a significantly better output. Not only will you feel better, but the output will be better as well compared to going for a free option. It's an easy option as well to just get out of the house and have a productive energy around you. Again, you're kind of surrounding yourself with people with common intentions or common goals. And for the most part, we're not further than half an hour away from a cafe. A lot of people can just walk to a local place. For me, I travel to find some ones that really work for me. But it just depends what your preference is. Now, because you've intentionally moved to a new area, right? That's kind of you're in that you've locked yourself in that mindset of doing work much better than, for example, if you say stayed in your bedroom and did some work, because you associate your bedroom with maybe sleeping. You might get some work done, but it's not going to, like, the time spent will not be nearly as productive if you put yourself in an environment that simulates work and energy, right? Most of these slides and videos are planned at various laptop-friendly cafes in similar spaces. A similar space might be a shopping mall, for example, or maybe there's maybe a waiting lounge, something like that. Just places where there's people around you. They're also kind of doing similar things, and you feel energized doing that or working. That's going to be the best case scenario for you. Now, next point here is moving to a different city or country, right? So this is obviously a much bigger thing, but it comes into environment supercharging progress. So it works well if you're living somewhere currently uninspiring, or maybe you're personally too ingrained in a poor or toxic culture, maybe around friends or family or colleagues, one that's not very inspiring. So, this could be excellent. This could be an excellent option if you're kind of wanting to get out of your hometown, get out of what you know. And it could be simple as, for example, finding a new job. It could be, looking for work overseas. It could be just going to travel and just getting out there, right? It can be a really easy way to just instantly remove all the negatives by simply just moving, right? When you move your life to a new country or to a new city, things like jobs, friends, potential relationships, maybe people you do business with, stakeholders. They're all going to be different, right? Or best case scenario, they won't be like what you had previously won't be physically around you. So you need to have that distance relationship, whether it's via call or similar. It just won't be in person. So you just cut out a lot of negatives potentially just by making the move. Now you're not only removing the bad, but hopefully the idea is that you're moving towards somewhere much nicer. So it's not just to escape the negatives, but you also want to go somewhere that you feel inspired and that you can really kind of double down on progress. So for example, if you're looking to just work 24/7, going to somewhere like Dubai could be interesting, or maybe Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. But going somewhere like Mexico on the coast could be a little bit too relaxing, or maybe an island, and you probably feel like you want to just relax a little bit more than actually do some work. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, even if you're not moving permanently, so even if you just go temporarily, for example, a vacation, or maybe it's a 1 month trip, Nomad Capitalist calls this as focus cities, right? So this can be a great place to kind of reset things and shake it up. If you're currently stuck doing the same old each and every day, could be an interesting option. Okay. Last point here is optimizing where you're forced to spend time, right? So if you're currently, you're having to do something, maybe it's you're forced to stay for a job, maybe it's family, maybe it's to care for someone, etc. What you want to do in that case is obviously do what you can in terms of being able to maybe get out for the day or get out every so often to kind of shake up your environment. But I think when you're unable to really do any major shifts, it's about optimizing where you currently spend your time, right? Because obviously you can't change where you spend time for the most part if that's your situation. So the best thing you can do is fix it, right? And this might be some simple things. For example, in your bedroom, you could, for example, increase the light. Simple as, opening your blinds or maybe installing a new light, like a nightstand or something. Maybe it's reducing noise. So if you're getting a lot of noise in your bedroom, for example, it could be putting up new windows that kind of, are thicker and they kind of isolate noise. Maybe it's just feeling good by putting up paintings or maybe some photos of family, etc., to make you feel good. Now, this I've just kind of named some ideas for your bedroom, but it could be for your house. It could be for maybe your workspace where you work. It could even be mentally as well, right? What things are mentally, you know, messing up your brain or kind of taking a lot of your focus away? And you might want to use, for example, meditation. Maybe do some journaling. Maybe getting off social media for a little bit, or at least not consuming any kind of brain rot content or content that makes you feel not great. Even little things like this can make a really big difference. So again, it's where you're forced to spend time. Obviously, we all have mental space that is occupied in our head, but it's about making those choices to optimize your mental environment, right, and improve it. Now, another really basic thing here is just even something like cleaning your room, right? So you could take you a couple of minutes. Going for a walk, I found personally is really great. I really enjoy walking around and um, kind of reflecting on ideas. Maybe sometimes I'll listen to a podcast, maybe a video, maybe music, maybe nothing. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'll just be left with my thoughts and just kind of just process things over time. And then when I'm back half an hour later, things are much clearer, or I have a clear to-do list to get to the next step, right? Or even something like talking to a friend, right? So speaking to someone that you haven't spoken to in a while could make a really big difference, especially if you are, thinking, oh, should I reach out or not? I think you should. It's nice to reach out to people and just reconnect for a little bit, even if it's nothing, even if you don't reconnect again for the next year. Just optimizing what you currently have. Okay. And look, if you're someone who just kind of spends a lot of the time alone and you don't really kind of do much, then whatever you do, just look at that or think that through and see what you can optimize. If you're sitting in your bedroom all day, optimize that. Obviously, it's a bigger problem, but do what you can to optimize things. Get outside the house. Maybe it's ring up a friend. Maybe it's get a new job. Maybe it's get a new hobby. Maybe it's pick up join a reading club, a walking club. Maybe it's getting involved in bird sightseeing. Whatever it is, optimizing your environment just can get can kind of achieve different goals just depending on what exactly you're wanting. Um, so yeah, hopefully that has given you guys some insights into different options in terms of your environments. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.